One of the best ways to acquire firewood is to have someone just drop it off at your house. So today's video is all about this giant pile of logs and the professional arborist that's responsible for it all being here. I got my backhoe wood splitter mounted up and I hope to give it its first run this evening to start working down this pile. But for now, I'm going to share with you one of my best ways for obtaining free firewood and take a closer look into the world of professional tree care.
Dig Drive DIY!
This is my wife's brother Caleb, and his tree service based in Northwest Ohio is called Tree Love. He's been doing professional tree work for over 20 years now, and as a climber, business owner, and professional arborist, he has seen it all in the tree business. To have that kind of longevity in the tree industry, you have to have stringent safety practices and professional top quality gear to get the jobs done. I've had the pleasure of working with Caleb on a handful of his tree jobs, and I'm always impressed with the amount of care and effort that goes into preparing for a climb, whether it be just a pruning, some storm cleanup, or a complete tree removal. There is a lot to consider and understand about the tree care profession, especially when you're surrounded by obstacles and interference, all while dangling from a tree limb. Caleb is a true pro that knows what he's doing. Some days he's 100% climbing, and other days he might be in a bucket truck or a lift, or a combination of practices. He might have the added support of a crane and additional crew, but most often these days, he and Maddie work mainly as a two-person outfit, and sometimes they contract with other tree services that need an experienced climber for the day. Earlier this year, I had the pleasure to tag along on this job in the city where he was taking down this huge swamp white oak. Every job presents new risks and challenges. There are always drop hazards on the ground, structures to avoid, power lines, other trees. You can imagine the amount of risk involved when doing this type of work. And no matter how prepared you are, you always have to plan for the unexpected as well. The amount of knowledge required to know the proper aspects of rigging, load ratings, cutting techniques, and general risk aversion practices is just mind-blowing. Not to mention that on top of all that knowledge and skill, you have to have nerves of steel to spend all day in the treetops. I know I'm certainly not cut out for it. The plan here was to use the crane to pick limbs from above the power lines and transport them overhead from the backyard to the front, where they could be chipped up and discarded. Caleb has to position himself in the tree so that he can be tied in and suspended from a sturdy line above so that he can navigate around through the lower limbs to get them rigged out one by one. Obviously, you've got to get the limbs appropriately sized so that the crane can handle them comfortably, but that's where some experience kicks in.
Yo. Uh-huh. Okay. Right. Hey John, could you have Maddie put some crane slings on the ball? Yep. Good. Yeah. Okay. You want cable down? See how that looks? How far back you think I need to cut it, John? Okay. You want me to put a shelf cut on it?
This limb pick was the first of many for the day, and even though I wasn't able to stick around to see this monster come down, like all of their jobs, this tree made it safely to the ground without any harm to person or property. This was a great perspective into just one type of job, and each job is different, and every homeowner has different needs and desires. Oftentimes the owner requests that all the wood be removed from the job site, and this is where I come in. When the situation is right and the path to our house is en route to the job site, getting a little firewood delivery today, Caleb will often give us the spoils of his labor. And he doesn't bring us the junk wood either. There's all of them. Red oak. A lot of times I'm not even here when the wood gets dropped off, but as long as I've got a clean spot for him to dump, he'll leave a nice contribution to the pile when it works out right for a job. I couldn't possibly take all the wood he generates though. This is a great concept for anyone that burns a lot of wood themselves or is maybe trying to sell firewood. There may be a way you can team up with a local tree professional in your area and work out a similar arrangement, because a lot of times these guys just may need a spot to get rid of the excess from a job site. The only catch is you have to make it easy and convenient for them so they want to dump at your site. So when a local friend of our family asked for recommendations of someone that could safely take down their giant elm tree next to the garage, my cousin Tony and I recommended Caleb. And on this job, I would again be a benefactor of the wood, and in order to help return the favor of all those free loads of premium hardwood, I would help with what I could to get this big guy down and out of there.
She's coming down.
But he's not up all the way yet. No. So, yeah.
Feel solid all the way through?
What's that?
It feels solid all the way through?
Yeah.
Yeah. Sweet.
You can pull a little harder.
Wow. My cousin Tony wanted the big logs from this tree to one day put through his sawmill, so we saved a few huge logs and had our friend Kyle show up with his bobcat and grapple to get them loaded onto my trailer and moved over to Tony's. These may sit around for a few years, but one day Tony will make something really cool out of them. I hope we can follow up and see what this tree becomes one day. So all the wood from that tree that we did is back here. Caleb, my brother-in-law, brought a pretty big load back with his dump trailer. I got a pretty good size load on my dump truck, and I need to get it all up here on the slab, so this stuff is obviously green and wet and won't really be ready to burn this year, but I do need to start working it up so that it can begin to dry, and I'll be a bit more organized to bring more wood here if need be. I'm going to use my big backhoe mounted splitter to break down some of these huge rounds, and then I'll start sorting out some piles. All right, here's one that should be a pretty good example. Break this down a handful of times. Some of you folks have probably seen this before, but maybe we got a few new viewers that haven't seen this splitter yet. Well, even though I'm not going to get much of this pile done tonight, I'm going to keep working on it a little bit here and there when I have spare time. I hope you found this video either entertaining or informational, or maybe both, but either way, I want to thank you so much for watching, and if I'm lucky, I will see you in the next one. All right, take care.